Ariel Helwani at the Aldo versus Faber press conference in Sacramento with the UFC and WEC president, Mr. Dana White. And Dana, I knew this was a big deal, but look at the way you're dressed.
I know.
This is a really big deal.
Well, you know, it's funny. I don't know why I dressed like this today. I just did. And I show up here and the mayor's here. How about the mayor is Kevin Johnson? Who knew that? You know what I mean? They'd said, hey, the mayor, Kevin Johnson's going to be there. I'm like, oh, it's cool. The mayor's going to come to the press conference. He shows up and it's KJ. How about that? So, yeah, I don't know. It's a good thing I dressed up. They announced that it's Uriah Faber Day today here, so.
Yeah, very big deal, and obviously he is the hometown guy. This is a huge deal for WEC. You confident? You know, you said in Abu Dhabi 150,000 buys. You confident that number or maybe more?
Yeah, I think we can do more. You know, this is an emotional fight for me because, you know, I take everything so serious when it comes to the sport and obviously to the UFC. And after the last Abu Dhabi fight, you know, I want to give back to the fans and make sure that we have a great event. And I'm feeling very confident that this is the card to do it. These guys are. This is actually a good time for this fight to happen for me, emotionally and mentally. I need this to happen on Saturday night. So I don't give a do 2 buys. I need this for me.
Yeah, and when you consider what happened Saturday night on CBS, I think a lot of MMA fans are feeling a little down on the sport. And you know, obviously you're invested in this, but WC events, they always deliver. So I'm sure you could tell the people out there that if you put down those $50, you're going to get a great show.
Well, it's true. I mean, the last thing I want to do right now is oversell anything. And I know I'm not overselling when I say I know that this is. I think that the co-main and the main event, you know, either one of these could end up being, you know, fight of the year, or they're definitely going to be contenders for it. And like I say, with the lineup we have for the rest of the year of fights, that's a pretty bold statement.
All right, so you know, in your video blog earlier this week, you said that you were doing these interviews and no one was asking you about WC. Do you feel a little bit like...
Yeah, actually, when we started out this week, you know, I had this plan. I wanted to just keep pumping, you know, but because of all the bad things that had happened, it was still spilling over and people were... But that all changed on like Wednesday. Everything changed. So,
does it feel a little bit like 2004 where you have to educate people about the brand and who these fighters are? Because when you come in UFC, you know, interviews and stuff, everyone knows who we're talking about.
Right. Yeah, no, I got to tell you, not really, because Uriah Faber has been this breakthrough star. You know, this people know him, and I think this is a super fight, man. I think Jose Aldo is nasty. The fact that this kid wanted to come here to Sacramento to fight Uriah is huge. And if you see his highlight reel, you see what kind of a fighter he is, you know that there's going to be fireworks here on Saturday night.
As a promoter, how special is Jose Aldo? Because you talked about your mental state and what Anderson Silva did in Abu Dhabi. He's like the younger version, and he goes out there and finishes fight. You have to love him right now.
I do, you know, and you know, I have, you know, all the things that I've said about Anderson. Everybody knows how I feel about Anderson as far as a fighter. I think he's pound for pound the best in the world. I don't know if he had a mental breakdown or whatever, but this kid, Jose Aldo, has just, I mean, in his last 6 fights, all 6 have been finished by knockout. I mean, this kid doesn't play around. He goes in there and goes in there for the finish.
I'm just curious, talk about why the WC logo isn't on the banners, on the mic flags. Why'd you go with that decision?
Well, this is a pay-per-view, and I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I basically got the commercials everywhere for this thing. The commercial is everywhere, from Versus to Spike to MTV2. The spots are running all over the place, you know. So this isn't necessarily a you know, WEC. This is a pay-per-view event. Aldo Faber, and you know, I need to get this thing out there. It was a strategy of mine.
All right, before we let you go to Pinkberry, just a couple more housekeeping notes. What happened in Nashville? How badly does that reflect on you? Because you are the most recognizable face. Your organization is the most recognizable one in the world. Any negative backlash you think comes out of that, or can people distinguish between that organization and yours?
No, the problem is that as we go out there, and you know, we're not sanctioned in New York, we're not sanctioned in Ontario. People know the stuff that's going on in Germany right now, and as we try to go into these all these new markets, you don't ever want to have that one thing go, oh, look, this is what this is all about, because that's what people think about us anyway. And the biggest thing with me is, do you think that Showtime or CBS or Strikeforce, for that matter, are spending any money to try to get New York done? Do you think they care if Ontario ever opens? Do you think they're going to spend any money in Germany or any other country to help move the sport forward? No, they don't care. We're doing that. You know, we're the ones out there. So every time that one of these fly-by-night, rinky-dink organizations go out and do something like that, I'm the one that has to go out and fix it. We have to spend the money. We have to put in the time and energy and everything else to make it right.
It's a little shocking. You've been more vocal about this than anyone in their organization. Are you a little surprised that they're not firing back at you? You're saying mayhem was sent in there. You're talking a lot about it, and they're remaining very quiet. Does that surprise you?
No, it's a low point for them. I'm sure. Listen, I've had my share of bad things happen, and when it does, it sucks and it beats you down. But the reality is they don't belong on CBS. I know that. You know that. Everybody knows that. They do not belong on CBS. And I saw some things yesterday where fans were talking, oh, he's bitter because, now he wants to be. I don't want to be on CBS. If CBS calls me today and says, please come to CBS, we won't be on CBS.
Really?
Really.
Why?
Because CBS blew it. CBS blew it. We're not looking to get on CBS. CBS went with these minor league guys, and it was at the it was the brainchild of all the geniuses over at Showtime. We'll just get our own league and we'll compete against them because we're so good at boxing. We can pull off the MMA thing too. Their boxing sucks, their MMA sucks, and that's how CBS is looked at now as far as the sport goes. And I'm not itching to get a network deal. Like I always say about the network deal, if the right deal comes that I think is right for us, then we'll do it. All these other guys, Strikeforce, Elite XC, IFL, and all the others that were on network television and fell apart, took the deals they had because they had to. They had no choice. They had to take that deal.
All right, finally some quick hits. BJ Penn, Frankie Edgar. Is it going down in Boston?
Yes.
Chael Sonnen and Anderson Silva. Is that going down in Salt Lake City?
I don't know. We're still working on that one.
Is Tito Ortiz still a member of the UFC family?
Yes, he is. And we're still cool.
You guys are fine.
Mm-hmm.
We will find out what happens on the show.
Yes.
Do you regret anything that went down leading up to that whole change in opponent in terms of how it was dealt?
I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out.
All right, Dana. Well, we look forward to it this Saturday night, live on pay-per-view from the Arco Arena here in Sacramento, California. Jose Aldo versus Uriah Faber. Don't you dare miss it. Thank you so much for the time, Dana.
Thank you, buddy.